There's no hockey quite like international hockey, and there's nothing quite like the Olympics. These aren't kids like the World Juniors, these aren't players who have been eliminated from playoff contention, and were amongst the small group who actually wanted to go, like the World Championships. And this tournament is part of something bigger, more consistent, and less janky than the World Cup of Hockey. Yeah, those events, the NHL and the playoffs are great and all, but while interest can dwindle if your team is eliminated for lesser tournaments or the playoffs, in the Olympics, the whole hockey world is stopped, and every fan, everywhere, has a reason to watch the exact same thing. But also, because it's an event with all kinds of sports, you get people watching hockey who normally wouldn't be exposed to it, which can grow the game at the grassroots level like no other event can. That's why this tournament is so important, especially when NHL players are allowed to compete. Famously, an estimated 114 million people watched the 2010 gold medal game, making it far and away the most watched hockey game ever played. And as you witness teammates in league play become rivals on opposing sides of heated matchups, while some league rivals become teammates, your experience as a fan can be mirrored. Fans you're usually on the same page as have loyalties to other teams now, while adversaries in league play and people with different views in general can now unite under a banner, everyone embracing being part of their own communities and embracing competition with others. Whether the countries playing are big or small, whether the portion of their population that plays hockey is minuscule or vast, whether their team's made up of entirely NHL stars or none, there's almost always an intriguing narrative on and off the ice between any two teams in any game. And obviously things outside of the sport can spur on fan engagement and passion that otherwise might not be there. And of course, the best part is that the fuel for all of this is the best hockey the sport has to offer. You get to see the best players play against the best players in their best physical form. This tournament isn't taking place after a grueling 82-game season. Players aren't just half dead like in the Stanley Cup final, so whoever's the least injured is far less relevant in determining who wins. And of course, there's even less room for error, so everyone has to be at their best at all times. There's no losing a bunch of games, but then figuring a team out and coming back to win. One mistake in one game can cost you the tournament. Teams have to come together, quickly develop chemistry, and perform in an unfamiliar environment, which can obviously force mistakes. So, who can handle the adversity of the situation? Who can instantly adapt? Who can play and succeed with unfamiliar teammates? Who can lead? Who can be led, and who can be as effective as they are in league play when the game is called as it actually should be. The rules tend to be more seriously enforced in the Olympics than in the NHL, as there will be a mix of NHL and IIHF refs. Good news for fans who want a more honest effort from officials. Another great thing about not having the NHL as the governing body for games is that we also likely won't be bombarded with as many advertisements, as the goal is to sell the hockey game as the product rather than to sell products at the hockey game, which magnifies the focus on the things that matter. The legacies that'll be built by incredible efforts, living up to or exceeding expectations.
It's the greatest win in the history of Switzerland!
And of course, remarkable individual performances that'll be remembered and revered long after the medals are handed out. And as stacked as some teams seem, there are no foregone conclusions. We've seen massive upsets and goalies stealing games many times, and no matter who wins, for some it might very well be the most memorable hockey moment they ever witness. Many fans remember exactly where they were when watching some of these games many years ago. Where were you watching the Czech Republic win from in 1998? Sweden in 2006? How about Canada in 2010? I was in the big city of Omemee, Ontario, Canada at a minor hockey tournament. There were hundreds of people, a mixture of parents and kids from all different teams, all crammed together in a little lobby area watching the overtime on a tiny TV in the corner by the ceiling. And since we're talking about the grassroots level, what are your fondest memories of the games as a kid? Mine were the 2002 games, and in particular, this play from the gold medal game. The pass from Pronger, Lemieux with the fake reception, letting the puck pass through his legs to my favorite player as a kid, Paul Kariya. I had these DVDs from that Olympics that came in cereal boxes, I believe, and for whatever reason I watched them so many times, well really just disc 2, as that was the one with the game recaps, as you couldn't just watch highlights whenever and wherever you wanted back then. So yeah, those games and that disc were defining parts of my hockey fandom. And these upcoming games could very well be defining parts of yet another generation's fandom. Of course, the rarity of the tournament adds to the occasion, which increases the pressure on the players in every aspect of this, especially because it's been so long since we've seen NHL players be allowed to compete, and there aren't very many players who were at the 2014 Olympics who'll be playing again this year. So it's finally time for a new generation of each country's best to get their chance. This won't happen again until 2030 at the minimum, and who knows if or when the NHL will go back on its word and betray the grassroots of the sport next. As everyone learned after the 2014 games, you never know when it's the last time you'll see hockey like this or players like these competing in this format, so let's not take it for granted, and let's enjoy what is almost inarguably the most prestigious event at the Winter Olympics, and to some the most prestigious event in the sport. Hockey where the winner isn't decided by who's in the position to take advantage of trades or free agents or who tanked for the best draft picks, where there are no salary caps, where no one decides to play for a different team so they can pay less income tax, and where no one's playing for franchises owned by random billionaires. When it comes from any and every NHL player making above league minimum, the phrase "winning is all that matters" is an oxymoron. During the Olympics, however, that phrase can actually ring true. But whether you see anything other than a gold medal as a failure if you're a heavy favorite, or if you'll be happy just giving your best effort as an underdog, no matter what the narrative is, you can't beat the sacrifice, the effort, and the inspiration that comes from playing for something bigger than yourself and your team. Because no matter where they come from, everyone plays this tournament for the same reason: